Hello and welcome to the Department Dispatch. I'm Dr. Jim Ashworth, and I'm currently the interim chair for the Department of Psychiatry at the University of Utah. And each month I'll be coming to you with what I think are three important things that each faculty and staff member in our department need to know. At the end of each presentation, there will be a short survey I'd like you to complete, which will help me understand if this is useful. Also, it'll be a chance for you to send topics of things you'd like to hear more about. So with that, let's go ahead and enjoy this month's update.
Hi, and welcome to the Department Dispatch. I'm trying to do a new thing by giving information to department faculty in a way that can be asynchronous, so people can watch it and pick up some important points as their schedules allow. My goal here is also to do short information bites, if you will, or dispatches, so that it can be easily viewed, but then I'll do them more frequently. I do want to facilitate getting information, but also facilitate getting questions about things that I'll then work into the next department dispatches that I do. Going to try and keep it to three main topics and around 15 minutes. First topic is going to be Dr. Bob Carter, who is our new Senior Vice President and who's been here just shy of a year. So far, I want to say that I really like his leadership. He's very, very bright, accomplished, and has really good people skills. I wanted to talk a little bit about what he's been doing with leadership structure, again, in my opinion. So, forever, it seems like, certainly since I got here in '99, the health center, the academic health center, has been broken down into sort of two chains of command. Remember, I'm an old military guy, so that's how I like to describe it. But you've got the School of Medicine chain of command on one side, and that's got the department chairs, the departments, the research mission, the education mission, and the faculty, and they hire the faculty. Then there's the hospital and clinic chain of command that really has to do with the business of taking care of patients. And these two classically meet at the top at the Senior Vice President office, or Dr. Carter's office. And that's kind of how it's been since the 70s, as I understand in talking to people. Well, what Dr. Carter has done with these two chains of command. Oh, and by the way, I've always thought that was a little wonky, and my word, and that it wasn't very efficient. For example, both of these chains of command, if you will, have their own HR systems. So it's duplication of effort. Okay, well, what Dr. Carter's done is he's created a system leadership structure. So you got these two chains, and then over that has been the system leadership structure. So you have suddenly, instead of a chief financial officer on the School of Medicine side, on the hospital and clinic side, and then a different financial structure on the School of Medicine side, you have now a system chief financial officer. And you have a system chief medical officer and a system chief operations officer. So what that's going to do is you've got this overarching structure, and it's going to force together these two chains into what I think will be a much more efficient and effective organization. And it'll take some time because this is new and it's been going on for decades. But if you hear that system term and kind of what he's doing, it's this overarching structure that I think will then kind of bring together these two different chains. The other thing I wanted to bring up quickly would be the hairline concept. And you may have heard him talk about hairlines. And this is a new idea, and it's still being developed here. And it was developed other areas around the country. But the idea is to redesign our care delivery, not specifically the technical things we do, but the way it's organized, and to do it in a way that is oriented towards the patient experience. So, for example, if I have a heart problem, I may go and see a cardiologist, and then they may say, hey, you need a potentially cardiac surgery. So I go see a cardiothoracic surgeon. And then, hey, you might need rehab. And so I go see the rehab people. And so the patient is doing the work of going from place to place to get the care they need. Well, a care line would say, okay, we're going to design the care and you know how a patient navigates that care from their perspective to make it easy. So like they call one call and they'll get their cardiology appointment, and if cardiothoracic surgery or their rehab stuff, it'll all be done in a way that makes it easy for the patients to get the care, to break down the barriers that might be there, and to have the organization do this efficiently, and so that the care I get in, say, this hypothetical cardiovascular care line that I'm talking about, whether it be here at the main hospital, or it be at the new West Valley Hospital, or if they be at some other clinic or hospital, it's all going to be managed the same way. It's all going to be led the same way and organized and designed the same way, so the patients get an easy and consistent experience. I think that's a great vision. It's still, how are we going to exactly do it is still getting worked out. And for mental health, how do we do it with mental health? I do think there will be a mental health care line, but this might take a couple of years to sort of fully flesh out. But I wanted to at least introduce that concept to y'all, so that so when you hear it, you kind of understand, at least the best as I understand, what he's shooting for. All right. Research update. I don't know. We spent a lot of time talking about the clinical things, clinical programs, newer clinical challenges. But I want to share with everyone that our Department of Psychiatry has just some awesome and amazing researchers. Currently, we have 66 active research awards. In FY26, fiscal year 26, we've had 12 new awards. Now, I, back at the beginning in February, was pressed to say, well, how many new awards are you going to get this calendar year? And I said, well, let's shoot for 10. We actually got 12 in that time frame. We've gotten 28. We have 28 new submissions so far, and there's at least 9 more submissions, grant proposals, whatever, submissions for research that are in development. This is a tough time. This is, if you don't know this, the federal government is considering changing the way that research gets funded, and it's a way that's been in existence for decades. And for federal research, like the National Institute of Mental Health, if our people got say $1 million grant from them, there'd be another $500,000 on top of that would go to the university, that the university would then use to cover the facilities and administration, F&A, the overhead, if you will, for running the university. And then some of that money would come back to the department, only a percentage. Right now, it's about 7.5%. Well, the federal government suddenly kind of changed how to do this, and they're not awarding grants like they did, and they've cut back on some grants. So it's been very tough. So despite it being such a tough year, our researchers have just, kept doing great work, have gotten awards, and have continued to do submissions. So I just want everybody to understand that we have really good folks here. Now, it's unclear so far about how this F&A model, if you will, from the federal government is going to ultimately pan out. So everybody's I just want to know, they're not giving up, they're not abandoning ship, they're just putting their heads down and continue to do great work. So kudos to them. I'm committed, and I want to let everybody know I'm committed to supporting our researchers. And that includes what we call bridge funding when appropriate. And the bridge funding is when, kind of through no fault of their own, a good researcher has, submitted grants, and maybe they've been awarded, or they haven't been able to get the grants because they're not giving out grants. and so we need to keep them whole until we get the next grant. And we have really good researchers. We have great researchers who have been very successful at funding themselves with grants for years. And this year is different. And so I'm committed to using what few resources there are within the department their priority is to making sure that folks that through no fault of their own are not getting funded, we keep them whole as long as we can. Now, there isn't a ton of money in the department right now because you have an interim chair. And I learned this the first time I was an interim, that if there are any leftovers money from any kind of startup package from the previous chair, that all gets taken back by the senior vice president. So there isn't a lot of funding, and one perhaps the most important reason for us to get a new chair is because with a new chair would come a new chair package and would come more resources that that could then be used to invest in faculty members. All right. The chair search, let's talk about that. What I know. So a chair search is run by the dean of the School of Medicine. So right now we have an interim dean, and a search for a new dean is going on, but our current interim dean is Christina Kaus-Duffin, who's the chair of the Department of Dermatology. She's been great. I know she's applied to be the actual dean. I hope she gets it, frankly, because I think she's just a really good leader. And but we'll see. That hasn't been finalized yet. Probably another month or so. But it's not. But the current sitting interim chair or the current chair doesn't run this search. It's run by the dean of the School of Medicine. They get a search firm. It's a national search, and the current name of the firm that has been selected to run the search is Korn Ferry. And that's just their name. I think it's kind of a funny name, but there you go. The search committee has been formed, again, by the dean of the School of Medicine, who forms that. There's two co-chairs. One is Monica Vetter, who's the chair of neurobiology, and one is Bill Caldwell, who's the chair of neurosurgery. These are both excellent leaders. They're seasoned. I am delighted that we have these folks as our co-chairs for the search committee, because I think they've got just good heads on their shoulders, and we're going to help get us a good chair. There are other people on the search committee who were again selected by the dean of the School of Medicine. She asked me and several other people to submit names, and then out of these 20 or 30 names, she then whittled it down to about 12-ish sort of people on the committee. Now, I'm sort of vague on this because I am not on the committee, and that's tradition. Usually you don't have the chair who's leaving or an interim chair be involved on the search committee. The first meeting of this committee is this week. So that's good news. This week is also kind of like the year mark of me being the interim chair the second time around. And so I had hoped it would have been started before this, but I'm delighted we're getting it started. Since it's their first meeting is this week, the chair job has not been posted yet, but I'm hoping, well, who knows, but I'm hoping by the end of the month. There's also a commitment, not a commitment, but when in speaking with Dean Duffin about this, she expressed to me that she very much would like to see these chair searches, of which there's several, occur more rapidly than they have in the past. So she's shooting for around the 6-month sort of time frame of doing a chair search. To put it, I mean, they can run 1 to 2 years sometimes. The chair search for anesthesiology did go faster than 12 months. I think it was like 8 months. I think that's great. I'm delighted to get it done as soon as possible. However, we want to get a good candidate. We want to get a good chair. We want to get someone with good leadership skills. So we have a lot to offer here, and I think we'll get a lot of good applicants. All right, so this ends my department dispatch for today, and you will get a survey, I believe, and so please fill that out so we can make it better. Say what you like, what you didn't like, and my goal is to do this once a month. As long as I'm interim, just to kind of quickly communicate information in a way that I'm hoping will be easy for you all to see and digest.